Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to begin a brand new retrospective on the TV show Justified. So Justified is a neo-western crime drama series set in Harlan County and centers on U.S. Deputy Marshal Raylan Givens, who has been assigned to Harlan County after committing a controversial shooting that he believes was justified. So the show was developed by Graham Yost and is based on the works of Elmore Leonard. It was produced by the FX network and ran for a total of 6 seasons, airing from 2010 to 2015. And it even got a follow-up in the form of a miniseries titled Justified City Primeval, though this didn't premiere until 8 years after the show's initial conclusion. It was critically acclaimed throughout most of its run and was even nominated for several Emmys. Now, as for me, having binged the show myself for the past 2 to 3 months, I have to say, while it won't go down as one of my all-time favorite TV shows, I definitely had a lot of fun with it. It was entertaining, it was action-packed, it was hilarious and emotional where it needed to be, and I was honestly kind of sad by the time it was over. You know, it was a comfort show for me, kind of in the same vein as Sons of Anarchy. So in season 1, Raylan Givens is pursuing the crimes of the Crowder family. And while this isn't my favorite season of the show, it's a great start and a solid foundation for what was to come later on. So let's get into it. So firstly, one of the most memorable scenes not only in this first season, but in the entire show, is the opening scene. It's very effective in its simplicity in the sense that it perfectly sums up just what brand of justice Raylan Givens has in store for anyone crazy enough to break the law. The characters were also fantastic, starting with Raylan Givens himself. Raylan Givens is something of a 19th century Old West style lawman living in modern times. His unconventional brand of justice is something that not only makes him a target for criminals, but also somewhat of a problem child for the US Marshal Service. And him getting reassigned to Harlan County is actually pretty interesting considering that's pretty much where he grew up. And it's a part of his life that he thought he could escape from forever until now. And to top it all off, Timothy Oliphant was the best choice to play Raylan Givens. You know, I've always considered him to be a very underrated actor, having appeared in films such as Scream 2 and Hickman, as well as other TV shows like Deadwood and The Mandalorian. And starring in this show, especially as the lead, was easily one of his best career moves. Then you have Boyd Crowder, played by Walton Goggins. Boyd Crowder is the son of Bo Crowder, one of Harlan's biggest career criminals. And he is also somewhat of a career criminal himself, being known for robbing banks. And while he starts out as a member of a white supremacist group, he ends up having one of the most fascinating character arcs in the entire show. And the best part of this is his rivalry with Raylan, given that the two actually do share a history, having dug coal together in the past. And Boyd also has 2 henchmen known as Devil and Dewey Crow, with Dewey being the more dim-witted of the two, which makes him all the more fun to watch. Then you have Ava, a woman that both Raylan and Boyd grew up with, and is the widow of Boyd's late brother, Bowman. Winona Hawkins is Raylan's ex-wife, and is currently married to a real estate agent named Gary Hawkins. And while she still has love for Raylan, she doesn't trust him enough given his line of work and his tendency to get in trouble. Raymond J. Barry plays Arlo Givens, Raylan's father. Arlo also happens to be a criminal who used to do business with Bo Crowder, although he's now suffering from a form of dementia. J. Barry and Oliphant played off each other really well as an on-screen father and son, and you really buy into the idea that they don't exactly have the best father-son relationship out there. Win Duffy is a Dixie Mafia enforcer who has his eyes set specifically on Gary, Winona's husband. And while he starts out with a fairly basic introduction in the season, he develops a more prominent role as the series goes on. Then there's Chief Deputy Art Mullen. Being in charge of Raylan, Art generally follows the rules, but occasionally gives Raylan leeway whenever he sees fit. And in some ways, he's more of a father figure to Raylan than Arlo ever was. Raylan's other colleagues include Tim Gutterson, a former Army Ranger sniper who is typically unimpressed by Raylan's antics. And Art's biggest worry is that given his time spent in the Army, his years of bottled up PTSD could cause him to blow up at any moment. And last but not least, Rachel Brooks, a fellow deputy who constantly lashes out at Raylan for his habits, arguing that he wouldn't get away with it if it wasn't for 3 things: him being white, male, and handsome. Aside from all of the characters, another element of the show that really stood out to me was the dialogue. It's quirky, it's unpredictable, and downright hilarious at times. This show starts out with an episodic structure, specifically in this season. And even though I would have preferred a more serialized approach, an episodic format is a great way to flesh out Harlan County and breathe some life and character into it. And the season does, at the very least, try to balance its standalone stories with its main arcs. That way you don't really have to skip anything, aside from maybe the 4th episode, but even that one is pretty decent. There's a couple of standout episodes that are worth mentioning. For example, Fire in the Hole, which is the pilot episode, perfectly sets up Raylan's reassignment to Harlan County, as well as his rivalry with Boyd Crowder. The Lord of War and Thunder sees the home of a debtor named Stan Parkins being vandalized, and so Raylan is sent to investigate this. And Hatless sees Raylan losing his hat after getting into a bar fight with a couple of patrons. The main story arc, that being Raylan's pursuit of the Crowder family, really starts to gain momentum in the second half and culminates in a solid finale, one that'll leave you wanting more and curious to know where the story is headed next. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not a big fan of the episodic format despite its qualities. As a result, the storytelling ends up feeling disjointed, and the first half in particular is a bit of a slog. And the other issue I have is that the quality of the episodes themselves can vary, with the weakest episode being Long in the Tooth, the 4th episode. It's a decent standalone story about a dentist who goes on the run, but as far as the main story goes, it's the only episode in the season that doesn't do anything to progress it, and they kind of hype up the possibility of Rachel having a prominent role in this episode, which ultimately goes nowhere. But then again, I still enjoyed it, and Clarence Williams III, who makes a guest appearance in this episode, actually has one of the funniest scenes in the entire show. It's too bad there's no clips of it on YouTube, so I can't really show it to you. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Season 1 of Justified. It's not one of my absolute favorite debut seasons of television, but it's a great start and a great foundation for this show. So next time we're going to be looking at Season 2, so look forward to that very soon. Thank you all for watching, guys. Please be sure to like the video, share it, and subscribe. Ring the bell, take care, and I'll see you soon.